Hi there. Thank you for all who are taking time out of your day to join me for this chat with my girlfriends. If you saw our posting about this last night, I said we would get started at 9:15-ish, and I'm glad I put the ish on the end. Either way, I want to introduce you to my girlfriends. I have first with me Miss Felicia Hefney. Will you say
Hi.
hi to the people, Felicia?
Hi, people.
And I also have my other girlfriend, Miss Kendra Ketter Chavis.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. So I'm wondering, Felicia, can you still see Kendra? Because I can no longer see Kendra.
And see
Okay.
Kendra.
Okay. So we're gonna see if something different happened with the phone on Kendra's end to see if we can get your face visible again for our live broadcast. There you are. You're back. Awesome. Okay. So now, this topic today, as you may have seen, is I saw Girls Trip for a second time, and this is going to be a conversation about womanhood. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, don't worry. This is not going to be a spoiler of any kind, and we're actually not going to critique the movie. So there you have it. You can go take a look at it still. But what I am going to tell you is that we're having a conversation on womanhood because this movie inspired me to do such a thing, and I'm so glad that my best girlfriends agreed to get on here today with me so we can have this talk. And I think it's good to have a definition of what womanhood means to me as a good place to start. So for me, womanhood is for those of us raised as young girls and then we one day hit this threshold. Some believe that it starts with puberty. I believe it's far longer, way after the time of puberty, where we hit this threshold and we become women. I've heard some people say that your 20s is when you're trying to figure it all out, and your 30s are when you know what you're doing. And I do believe that I've seen a progression in myself as an individual. I know that my girlfriends who are live with me today have experienced similar things, and we've discussed that in the past. So that's going to be the point of view that we're coming from today. So in that vein, my first question I want to ask is, why is sisterhood important? Why is sisterhood important? Let's see. Kendra, you look like you don't mind talking first today.
Well, sisterhood is very important. I am from a family of sisters. I am one of five sisters and many, 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 many female cousins. So I knew just early on how important that bond is between women and girls and women. And so I think it's really important, especially in adulthood, because life happens. And as they say, the vicissitudes of life, these ups and downs we go through, you need to have other people you can do life with, other people you can lean on because you can't do it by yourself. I can speak for myself and say I have tried. And the older I get, the more I realize we're not meant to do it alone. So I think sisterhood is important just for those ups and downs. You know what I mean? Somebody that you can lean on when you're not quite strong enough to do it by yourself.
Lord knows I can testify to that. Felicia, what say you?
Mm. Well, I'm blessed to have, I have one sister. But I've also been blessed in just having really good friends. Like I've always had, just thinking back over my life, I've always had like a core group of friends that I was always around and that I could share different things with. And as I got older, your groups change, but the foundation of sisterhood stays the same. So you still need people, like Kendra said, you need people to do life with because life happens. Things are going to happen that you don't expect, that you aren't prepared for, and you need that support system because a lot of times you can't do it on your own because it's too hard to try to do it by yourself. So sisterhood is super important, and it's something that we shouldn't take for granted, because it's important, whether it be your own biological sister or your group of friends that you consider sisters because they're so close to you. It's important because you need someone to do life with.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I can definitely agree. So, for people who know me, in my mother's home, I grew up with just my brother and myself. My father definitely has other children. I'm proud to say that as an adult, I am rekindling certain relationships. So, I do have some blood sisters. But anybody who knows Valencia knows that she is what we would call a people's person. I love my sisters, and I mean those who God has granted to me also outside of blood relationship. And so these girlfriends I have here with me today, I consider them to be my sisters. They definitely have had my back in the good times and the bad. And it's something that I count to be one of my most valuable assets. So they are family to me. And to be perfectly honest, I'm always trying to balance because I'm a married woman with children, and we know that all relationships have their proper places. So, but I just thank God. Sisterhood is something that I definitely value. And I believe we're kind of getting to this moment. I want to know, what would you say about the importance of sisterhood for a single woman and a married woman? Is there a difference, or is it the same? And anybody
Mm,
who,
well, I mean, there's a difference when you're single because you'll have more time to devote to your sisters, right? There's no one else that you have to think about but yourself when you're single. So you have
yeah.
time to go out, time to talk on the phone late at night. You have time to go on trips whenever you feel like going on trips. But when you're married, it's different because there's someone else there that you do have to think of, and you need to give him attention too. So um, there's just a little more trickiness in terms of juggling the two relationships in terms of your marriage and your sister friends.
Mm-hmm.
But it's equally important to have sisterhood in both veins of life, whether you're single or whether you're married. Because I know when you're married, sometimes it's easy to forget about your friends because you're so caught up in your husband and that life. But that support of friendship, you still need someone to talk to when things aren't great at home, or when you just are beginning to lose yourself. Sometimes you need that sister to bring you back and to remind you of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then same thing, single, like there's going to be times when you feel alone and when you feel by yourself, and that's when those sisters are important. You need someone there to remind you that you are loved, that you count, that you matter, and that someone is there that has your back through thick and thin. So it looks different when you're single and it looks different when you're married, but they're both equally important in both times of life.
Yeah.
Amen.
I agree 100%. I found, ironically, you have less time to devote to friendship when you're married. And I'm sure even less when you have children. But I found that I need them more on this married side of life than even like before I was married, because like life is just throwing so much more at you. So you do need people that you can talk to. And sometimes you just need people you can cut up with and like act the donkey with. And like your girlfriend, like nobody replaces that. Like people you can just be your whatever self with, like you don't have to put on. And I think especially when you're married, because there's so much like life, you're doing life together and you're taking on bills and responsibilities and vision and purpose and all these, big words. But sometimes you need people, that you can just kind of laugh, talk about randomness, and talk about the serious things. So it's just an ironic shift, right? You have less time, but you need that more.
More. I think in what you're saying to me, it definitely resonates. And I am thinking about a certain moment in the movie where the lead character said that, there are people in your life who you can't pretend with. If we were to be honest, as professionals, when you go out in society, there is a face that you wear, even the most authentic of us. There's a face that you wear because you present your best self, as we say. But with your girlfriends, or you need girlfriends, I would say you need girlfriends so you can do like Kendra said, let your hair down. Just, but me, I'm a crier. I need somebody that can just lay in their lap and cry. They laugh at me because I'm the crybaby, but I just need to cry. I need to be able to do my big, joyful laugh that some people think is hilarious, but I need to be able to do those things. Those things are vital to my success. They're vital to my being the full essence of the woman who I know that God created me to be.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you for letting me do that, Kendra and Felicia.
You're welcome.
So I want to make a note to say that it's important to never lose yourself. Women are typically known as caretakers. That's across time. We're known to be caretakers. That is whether or not we have a husband and children or not, we still take care of our birth family members. That's just what we do, and even people who we call adopted family members. So in that vein, you can sometimes find yourself lost in the taking care of others. And I believe that it's important to find ways to get back to her. And in case you're like, who is this her? Her or she or whomever you want to describe her to be is the essence of you, the core of you. Sometimes women think that's, if you're married, you think that's the woman that you were when you're single. But I think that it's more evolved than that. I think it's more layered than that. It's not just about this fun and flirty girl. But as you become a woman, and a woman to me is that former girl who now is comfortable in her own skin. She is herself unapologetically. She is okay with walking in the body that God has given her. And this quick sidebar, that doesn't mean that she's going to be unhealthy. Like, she's going to protect the temple and be glad to live healthy. But the point is that you know who you are. You're no longer trying to fit in per se, or concerned about, well, what is my grandmother going to say? What is my mother going to think about me pursuing this thing that I know I'm purposed to do? And so I want to ask the question, saying all of that, what are some ways that you get back to her if you ever feel like you've gotten away from who that woman is?
I think probably, and anybody can jump in. That's the point of having friends, I guess. And as you get more comfortable, it allows other people to be more comfortable with who you are. But I think the word accountability is probably what popped in my head. Because sometimes we think of accountability as only people who tell us, like, when we messing up and we like, girl, get back on track. You lost your whole mind, right? But like accountability too of being yourself, like just saying like, now you're not even acting right. Like, you know what I mean? You're not acting like yourself. You seem like you're trying to, you're sacrificing parts of yourself. I think friends should hold you accountable when they see you kind of are slipping. So, I hope you don't mind because we are on video, but I hope Valencia doesn't mind me saying this. So, like, example, Valencia is one of those people that she'll talk to anybody. She will like walk up to folk. She's just like, she's like, I'm gonna just do it. Like, that is Valencia, and she's real out there. So, she just is very open and like that. And it's a really good thing. But I think as age comes and life comes, like, life teaches you to be more fearful and to be more apprehensive. And so recently I even had to say to her, like, don't lose that part of you. Like, that's the best part of you. And sometimes we have to do that, like pull our friends, especially, as women, just pull our coattails, like, hey, don't shrink back. I see you shrinking a little bit. Like, come on. So yeah, I think of that kind of accountability.
Yeah, I'm yes to all of that. Felicia?
Well, I don't know. That's kind of a tricky question because I feel like throughout life, her kind of changes.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
And you go through different things, and that her becomes a different person because of it. So you're always on this journey to figure out who you really are. Like, I don't know. I definitely have not come to the place where I've arrived at being like completely comfortable with body and with personality, and I'm just owning it. Like, no, I'm not there yet. It's, to be totally honest, it's a journey. Like, it takes time to really find who you are. And I could say, Felicia in 20s, maybe I'm missing that girl, but I'm Felicia in my 30s now, so that's a different her. And I'm sure Felicia in 40s is going to look different, and Felicia in her 50s is going to look different. So it's always this journey of really figuring out who you are. So a matter of, when you have sisters, they're able to acknowledge that you're different. You're not the Felicia that you were when you were in your 20s. Now you're a different Felicia. But I'm gonna hold you accountable for being who you are right now. I'm not gonna pull you back to who you were before, because you're not her anymore.
Yeah.
To be something that you're not, because you're not that yet either. I think we're always still arriving. I know I can say for me personally, I have not arrived at that point yet where I can say, this is Felicia and I'm totally confident and I own the room and I know who I am. And no, I'm not there yet. And I really just, I think that's what sisterhood is, a journey. You're going to go through that journey with friends. I got to meet up with a friend of mine. Hey, Tasha, if you ever watch this. I got to meet with my friend Tasha, middle school, right? So we've known each other since 6th grade. So when we met, we were like 11. And now we're in our 30s. And our conversation was nice because it was so different because we're grown-ups now. Like, we're not talking about the same things we talked about when we were 18 or when we were 24. Like, now we're growing up. We're in a different phase of life. I'm not going to try to pull her back to the Tasha that I knew when we were 17 years old. That was a long time ago. But I'm going to embrace the Tasha that's with me right now because that's who she is now. And as we journey, as we grow, and as we have different experiences, she's going to become a different person. And I'm going to celebrate that with her. I think that's what sisterhood is all about. Because I don't know if you ever really get to that place of arriving. It's a journey, and they're walking along this journey with you.
I like
that. So what you mean is, if I was liking Funyuns back when I was 16, you ain't gonna be so much trying to shine on me because I want to eat my fancy rice now. That's what you're trying to say.
Say?
Oh, you couldn't hear me?
No, what'd you say?
So my joke is going to be super corny, but all I said was if I like Funyuns in high school, you're not going to try to hold me against trying to go back to that if I want to eat my nice rice today, is in essence what I was trying to say.
And if you do want to go back and do that, I'm not going to hold you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I love that. I think what Felicia said it was brilliant. Yeah. No, I think what you said, Felicia, was brilliant because it's true. There is no there. Like, we make ourselves think there's a there, but I think that, there is no such thing as like, I'm here now. And it's like, no, you're not.
That's a lot. Like, let's cut that rumor now. Like, there's never a point where you're like, I'm arrived. I'm so comfortable. Right. And I'm so like, I love my body. I love this. I'm so good. There's always going to be a time when you walk in a room. Let's just be honest. Like, let's have an honest talk about this, ladies. There's always going to be a time when you walk in a room and you may not feel like the prettiest woman in the room. You may not feel like the best body. You may not feel like you have the most to say. Like, there's always going to be that time, right? And acknowledge that. I mean, it is what it is, and do your best that you can present yourself, come bringing your best self. But there are going to be moments where you don't feel like you're the best in the room, and you don't feel like you've arrived. You're still questioning yourself. That's life. That's natural.
Yeah.
Way to go for girlfriends keeping us honest, right? They were like, we're not even going to play that game on here, so we're going to keep it honest. They telling the truth. So in my mind, I would love to think that there is a place, there's a position, but we know that there is no arrival point. That's just not true to humanity. We want there to be that, and that is the false presentation that we see out here, but it does not exist, and they're absolutely right. We know this as a woman. You can wake up today and for whatever reason, we'll say you woke up on the wrong side of the bed and you just can't get it together. Even if you try to put on your best clothing that you have, but your hair won't seem to lay just the way that you desire for it to lay. And for whatever reason, the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And in those moments, you don't feel like you've arrived to any point.
Yeah.
I think that's when I lean in to my faith, and then my girlfriends remind me of that. Like, they are going to be the people who can call me out and remind me of why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, and remind me of the woman that I am today. Thank you for that reminder, Felicia. The woman that I am today, and the woman that I strive to be.
Yeah, because the heart part, that's the part that doesn't change. That part, like the character, well, it should get better. If it's gonna change, that should get better, right? But like, so we have to still be mindful of that part, right? So the parts of us that, if we see ourselves going backwards, that's when we do have to be like, now, girl, listen, you didn't start lying. And now we don't know how to tell you this, but you didn't become a liar. I love you. But that's a hard conversation. So I don't know how you really have that with people. Thank God we hadn't had to have that. But you know what I mean? It's when you see character shifts, that is when we have to be accountable. Those kind of things. Like, that's important. I think that's the beauty of sisterhood. And I think I'm grateful for that when I think about growing up with so many sisters. They're definitely those people that won't let you get too far out there. It's like, listen, we notice you got a lying problem or a stealing problem or a trifling problem. And that's love. That's love.
Wow, that's really good. That's really good. Felicia, you about to say something?
Oh no, I was gonna say honesty. That's a big part of sisterhood too. Just being honest with your sisters.
For
Yeah.
sure. That's really good. Y'all actually went directly where I was going to go about how you balance her with the woman that you've become, and we've dealt with that. So we're going to transition to another place. It's going to feel like a bit of a separation from where we are. I want to know, is it possible to be successful in romantic relationships and still pursue your other dreams and ambitions? And of course, this is based upon what we, for those of us who did see the movie, saw. So I'm going to repeat that again. Is it possible to be successful in your romantic relationships and still pursue your other dreams and ambitions?
Well, truth, because we are talking truthfully. So I know about the lead in the movie, and her whole thing was you can have it all. You can have this great husband, this great marriage, this great career. You can do it all. You can be the boss of your life, and um, I think that can be true, but there's also the reality of like when you're putting your all into one thing, there is another part of your life off a little bit. Like you're gonna have to be a little more intentional in that area. So if I'm really going after this career and I'm trying to build this career and I'm staying up late at night so I can put in this work and build a business or whatever, have to be a little bit more intentional with that romantic side of my life, because just as humans, when our mind is focused on one thing, that's where we are. So I'm going to have to remind myself that, oh, there's this person over here that I need to give attention to. So it's hard to balance both, and you are going to have to be intentional and purposeful about planning time with your husband or whoever you're seeing, and then also planning time to build a business and be the woman that you want to be. Can't be done, but I also don't want us to think that it's easy and that like it's just gonna happen. It's doable, but it's gonna take work, and it's gonna take you being purposeful and prioritizing things and making sure that you plan out your day accordingly.
Yeah.
True that. Kendra?
I think so I'm thinking about the movie where she talked about, you can have it all. And I think you have to figure out what is all for you, because all isn't the same for everybody. And sometimes, especially in social media, because we're millennials, so we grew up in the age of social media, and we can see other people that really look like they have it all. Like, wow, she's gorgeous. She out at the gym, her husband body tight, her kids look beautiful in all the pictures. Like, hashtag no filter even on her kids. Like, her dinner looking the bomb. They on vacation. Like, their life look amazing. And you over here like, I'm struggling. My rice just burned up. I don't have no vacations planned. Like, it's a disaster. And so you're over there like trying to make your all their all, and like you scrambling and all the balls are falling. It's a disaster, right? So it's first like for yourself, what is my all? What does this mean? Like what is my portion? What does God desire for my life? And that can be really hard because we do like to scroll and people's pictures are beautiful, but we have to remember like those are snapshots of their life. What is like my life? What is for me? What gives me joy? And once you decide what like success looks like for you, then you are good, because once you have that, like, okay, this is me and I'm fulfilled in this, right? So I think you can have it, but I think you have to decide what it is first. And then secondly, I think it's priorities. And my husband and I talk about that a lot. Like you have to establish priorities. That's not something that you can let go. And I think sometimes we take that for granted, but you have to establish what are the priorities of my life, right? And once you establish those, you know how to work on them. And in some seasons they shift, right? So in some seasons it might be like whoever you're dating or married to, and then it's work, and then it's your friends. In other seasons, you might just be struggling and you like, listen, I don't even want to think about building a business. Right now, I need to like get my like personal life together, and I want to, just have my friends to lean on. And those things shift throughout time, throughout seasons, they change, and you just have to be satisfied with whatever is your season. And I'm telling you, comparison is like, it's a killer. It will ruin your whole life, and you're never going to measure up. Your reality is never going to measure up to somebody else's Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. Like, it's just not, because that's not their whole life. It's just little pictures.
Ooh, y'all are going there today. Go ahead, Felicia.
No, and bringing it back to sisterhood, what Kendra was saying, make sure you have sisters in your life who, because we have some friends that may like really feed into the news feed thing, right? Like you're calling your friend up and, girl, have you seen Sarah's life? Her life looks amazing. She's on these vacations. Her body's great. She's always cooking. Her family's beautiful. Have a friend that's going to bring you back to reality, right? Because you don't want a friend that's going to be like, yeah, Sarah's life is amazing. Your life kind of sucks in comparison to Sarah's life. Make sure you have a friend that is going to bring you back to reality, like what Kendra just said. Like, those were the highlights of Sarah's life. Sarah's not going to put up the argument that her and her husband had last night. Sarah's not going to put up the tantrum that her 2-year-old had this morning. Those are the highlights of Sarah's life. So you want to make sure you have sisters in your life who are going to remind you of that, because comparison is real, y'all, especially in the media world. Like, it's so easy to go on there, scroll, and you end up feeling a lot less than.
Yes.
Your highlights don't look the same as someone else's highlights. But in those moments, you need a sister that you can call up and who can be real with you and say, hey, girl, you got a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah.
Things going on in your life too, and you don't have to and don't feel like you have to post every blessing that you get, but just knowing for yourself that, you know what, God is working in my life too, and praise God that he's working in Sarah's life too, but also highlights of Sarah's life. So don't get caught up in that, and make sure you have girlfriends that are going to bring you back to the reality of what you have, so that you can be grateful for your portion.
Oh, let me tell y'all something. First of all, I'm frustrated because y'all have hit so many good points. And so like now I got to just roll back so I can bring up what I want to, but I'm going to go jump in with priorities. Kendra, what you said about priorities, like that is real. That is true. And in a moment of transparency, if my husband was on here for what I'm about to say, he would be like, yes, amen, high five. I'm often being like pulled back, like in addition to my girlfriends, thank God for my husband, who he will pull me back in a minute. He's like, look here, girl. You're doing all this wonderful stuff out in the world. Don't forget about us. Don't forget about me. Wham, your husband crying and your babies are too. And that's just the reality. You know, life is full. We all have various responsibilities. For me, I have to remember that I have my husband, Jarrell. I have to remember that I have my children. And though I have other ambitions that I believe I'm supposed to pursue, if they're taking a backseat to it or they're playing second fiddle, then that's not a life that's not the right way my life should be. I'm out of order. And again, because we're not perfect people, we get out of balance. And if there's nothing else that we're saying have yourself in a nurturing and a loving circle, full of people who know the authentic you, who are going to call you out and let you know it's okay to rest. That's another thing too when we talk about that trap of looking at what other people are doing on the highlight reel. And don't get me wrong, we appreciate the internet and social media because it gives us a vehicle to do things such as what we're doing today. But we're also saying keep it in the proper perspective, have boundaries set up. Are you scrolling the first thing in the morning? Are you scrolling when you lay your head down at night? And I've been guilty of that. But when those things happen, it's time to put some brakes on and say, hey, maybe I should power this phone off, for a 24-hour period or whatever, so I can get back into my real life, right? The people who are here with you, standing alongside you. So I'm just so glad that y'all hit these points. And I'm just praying that all the viewers, women and men alike, will take home the things that they need to from here in this conversation. So after we've been to the heavy place, how about something a little bit more lighthearted and fun? If you could have it your way, how often would you go on trips with your girls? Kendra?
Drinking my little green tea. I don't know. Maybe I think once a year is nice. I think especially as we get older, like for the three of us, we live in different cities now. And so I think once a year is a nice amount of time. obviously, if we lived in a city, the same city, which we did at one point, then, you can do cute little things like, hey, we'll go for a day trip, together. And you can do that pretty often. But I think as you get older and life pulls you in different places, you have to, again, those priorities, because, like, you got to work. And, like, the light bill don't care if you got sisters. So you have to, like, be wise and do things in order. So I think once a year is fun. We hadn't done one in a little bit, ladies, but we did get to go to MegaFest, so that was good. And that tells our age, y'all, because we excited about going to MegaFest.
Yeah.
We used to be going to Miami, and we used to be lit, but we lit for Jesus. It's aging. So anyway, I think once a year is a good time, and I could, I don't know. I enjoy that time. It's just refreshing. It's nice to be away and to be with people who care about you and who know who you are and know how you are and can cut up and all that good stuff. And again, yes, Valencia, what are you laughing at?
I'm laughing because Felicia walking around and we can see her. That's why I'm laughing.
Oh, listen, this is sisterhood.
Trying to find chargers before my.
Okay. So she'll be back with us soon.
No, but yeah. So I think once a year, I think is a reasonable enough time. But it also, again, it depends on the season of life. How old are you? What are you doing in your life? I would have given you a different answer. At 23, I would have said something different, like, "Oh, y'all, we could go someplace every few months. That'll be so fun." But like, come on. So yeah, I don't know. Let's do another vacation, ladies. Who's paying?
I know. So while we're waiting on Felicia, I'll jump in and say, maybe I am still in my 20s in my head, because since we just went to MegaFest, and I'm gonna go ahead and call us out. Kendra didn't say it, but I will say it. We have not been on a girls trip since 2012. So I think is that 5 years if I can count right. So MegaFest was dynamic. It was a powerful spiritual encounter. But I myself would have liked to have done something like a MegaFest, and then another part of the year do another fun trip. That's what I would. So I would be on the twopers. I would be the one to do 2 trips a year. If it were up to Valencia, if I had the resources, and if my family was cool, you get the point. So that's what Valencia would do. How about you, Felicia?
Charger, praise God.
Yay.
I would do. I think once a year is good. Mm-hmm. I'm good for once a year. I think it's just because you have that one vacation that you're looking forward to every year with your girlfriends. I'd say once a year. And then side note, we are planning to go to Essence Fest in 2018.
Yes.
So be there.
So there you go. Essence Fest it is, because I need some fun in my life. Amen.
Oh Lord.
Well, what were you saying, Kendra?
No, I was trying to hear Felicia. I couldn't hear what she said.
Oh, I said just be on the lookout for us there. We might have more of these conversations, and you can join us.
There you go. Right at Essence Fest 2018. Plug. No, but that's really good. I'm excited. So we're actually coming close to the end of our conversation. And I want to ask, for the women out there who may be struggling with their present circumstances, some women may feel overworked, even underappreciated. And unfortunately, some of us sometimes feel that we're not as successful as we thought we might be at a certain stage in our lives. What would you say to this, or to these women in particular?
I think I would say it's normal. We've all had those feelings before. We've all dealt with different circumstances in life, whether we were prepared for them or we weren't prepared for them. We've all been there. We've all had moments where we felt like, gosh, I thought I would be much farther along than this by now. I think that's a real feeling. It's a human feeling. It's a natural feeling. But I would also say that things always change. And I know, as Me personally, having dealt with something really difficult over the past year, like the tragedy and in the midst of the discomfort, I can still see God's hand in it all. And I know that my faith is really important to me. And I've come to understand that God is very intentional and he's very purposeful. And even in the moments where we feel confused and we're asking a lot of why questions, there's always a plan and there's always a purpose behind it. And just know that where you are now and how you feel now, you won't always feel that way because we know seasons change. And maybe your situation won't change tomorrow, maybe it won't change next week, but we know that after a while, it'll get better. Progress, and you will see growth, and you will be able to look back on this difficult moment and you'll be able to see God's hand in the midst of it all. And again, I would say make sure that you have sisters that you can talk to, that you can be open and honest and real with. I think that's so important. Like you need someone that you can share those raw human emotions with. Because again, I think about the main character in Girls Trip, and even though she had those sisters, like it took her a while to be open and to be honest. She kept saying that she was okay, and clearly she was in a situation where no one would be okay with that situation. And it took a while for her to really be open and to be honest with them. But that's life. Like we're all going to go through things. We're all going to have seasons where we don't feel our best. We're all going to go through situations where we question God sometimes and wonder why this is happening to us. But in those moments, make sure you have someone that you trust, that you can talk to with. Don't hold back those things, those feelings that you have, because they're real and you need to acknowledge them. In a book I'm reading, the author talks about, just beauty in pain. And a lot of times we try to run from pain, and a lot of times we try to run from the discomfort, and we try to like numb it by like going out or doing something else to take our minds off of it. While that's fine sometimes, but at the same time, it's important to acknowledge that the pain and the discomfort is there, because that's where the healing occurs, when you acknowledge it and when you sit with it and you talk about how real these feelings are in the moment. And then you can begin to heal, and then you can begin to see the growth, and then you can begin to see the progress. And then you'll look back and you'll say, wow, God, you brought me a really long way and you were with me through it all, and things will get better. And the way you feel today, you won't feel that way forever. But just hold on, keep the faith, make sure you have good people around you that are going to speak life into you, that are going to encourage you, that are going to remind you how awesome and amazing you are, because you are, and know that things are getting better. Something better is coming along, and things are always changing, and know that it's for the better.
Wow. Kendra?
What do we say to someone who's worried about time? I think, yeah, it is natural. It happens. So for me, I have a birthday coming up and I have been dreading it. And I noticed that recently that I feel a sense of just like, no, about this next birthday. And that's because I'm a very goal-oriented person. And so in the last few years, I've tried to learn to just be a little more free and like, God, however you want to do it and when you want to do it. But I noticed that there was this dread that was sitting there. And so what I'm trying to remind myself, like in the midst of that, is saying like, I can't be worried about a calendar because I serve the maker of time and space. Like I cannot focus on the calendar. I serve the maker of time and space. So who am I to say like, it didn't happen at this time? Like I serve the maker of time and space. So when it's time and when there's space, God's going to put me where I'm supposed to be, and where I am right now is where I'm supposed to be right now. And if we have a feeling that we are out of place or out of order or out of sync with, where we're supposed to be, then that's just a simple prayer. God is so gracious to just be like, God, if I've missed a step, if I didn't do something that you told me to do, thank you for being so forgiving. Put me back on track. God restores time. Like that's what I love about God. I love that that's in scripture. Just as part of my faith. I can't ignore scripture. And so I just love that God redeems time. And that's just a beautiful part of God. Like we think we've lost all of this, and God is like, nope, I got it. You're good. Everything that the locusts have eaten, all the things that have been consumed, all the ashes, I'll give you beauty for it. And so I'm just thankful for that. So it's just remembering that that little reminder, like whenever we're worried about the calendar and panicking, just like I serve the maker of time and space. And there's no way he's gonna be out of sync with himself. And so that shifts you from being in distress to being kind of excited, like, wow, you have these plans for me and I'm on track. And you have great surprises in store for me and they're coming. So that's the encouragement I would give about that, because I think it's a common feeling and it's okay to feel that way. But yeah, remembering who we serve, for those of you who are people of faith, remembering who we serve, and being okay with that, being okay with God putting us back on track and keeping us on track, because you are on track. You're okay. You're where you're supposed to be. I know, and I mean, not to go too long, but I do want to just say quickly, I think my husband and I talked about this yesterday, just our generation, as far as being millennials, because we see social media, we can see people getting success and it seems so fast. And we're like, she's 19. How does she have a boat? Like, what in the world? You know what I mean? So we like freaking out because we're like, my whole life is a disaster. I hadn't made nothing of myself. I'm about to be out in the street begging for change. Like, it's a mess. And that's not true. I think it exposes. The good news is it has created extra opportunity for some people, but it also has just shed a light on some other, exceptions maybe. Everybody is not out there like on a yacht at 19. And if they are, praise God for them. That's not your testimony. And so it's just remembering, like, say it again.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. What'd you say?
I was lying, talking about he was on that private.
They could be lying. That could be
That's true.
At somebody's backyard and they hopped on the back and took a picture. But I mean, either way, it's just it's remembering that, you know what, like, I know we're in such a rush to go ahead and have success right now, but if we think about it, our parents and our grandparents, like, they worked hard and they established a life, and then they settled into that life and enjoyed it. And so us not forgetting the value of just like working and building and growing something and nurturing a vision like a baby. And it's okay. And in due season, when it's your time, like, you'll have what you're supposed to have, and you still won't be there. To circle all the way back to the other thing we talked about earlier, you still won't be there, because there is no there. Like, heaven is there. There is no there. So it's like, thank God for where you are right now and letting that be enough right now. And I have to remind myself of that, because I can be really hard on myself. Like, you hadn't done enough yet. And it's like, but God has done exactly what God wanted to do up until this very moment, and that's okay. So that would be my advice on that.
That's all good, ladies. So I thank you so much for spending time with me here today, and for the people who will see this. I feel a strong urge that I need to say that it's very important for you to have people in your life who you can be your authentic self with. Have people in your life who you can take all the walls down, as a metaphor, undress in front of, take off your face, be naked, be transparent with people who you can do this with. If you do not have a circle of friends who you can be your authentic self with, then I dare say you may not have friends. And I want to encourage you to do what you can to seek and search out. We are all women of faith. You've heard us say this. Seek out the God that we know and ask for God to put you in a space where you can have friendship. While we are in a generation where we're blessed to be educated and we live blessed lives and we can do a lot of things alone, I do believe that we're called to walk in life with people. And I believe that friends are called to walk in life with us. So do that. Do that. I want to ask my friends, if you want to, would you like to share any information about how people might stay in contact with you if you desire? If not, then that's totally okay as well. Or where can they find you out there in the world, on the internet? Kendra.
We're out in these internet streets. Well, I guess now we do hand out IG like we do business cards, don't we?
Mhm.
I'm on Instagram. If you want to follow me, it's because I'm Kendra. So because I'm like I am Kendra. And you can find me at kendrakc.com or kendraketachavis.com. I'm out here living, trying to keep up with time. No, just kidding. But yes, I'm out here.
Awesome. So we have kendraketachavis.com or kendrakc.com. And on Instagram, we have I am Kendra, because I'm Kendra. And how about you, Felicia?
Well, I am not as prevalent on these internet streets, but I guess you can just find me on Facebook if you want.
And you can find her through me and Kendra too. If you need to grab her for bookings, you can find her through as
Talk
well.
to me. Find me on Facebook. Daphne.
She's the smart one. She's staying out of this social media craziness. She's the smart one out of us guys.
Yes, she is. So you can find her on Facebook as Felicia Hefney. That Hefney is spelled Hefney. Awesome. So if you're watching this broadcast on YouTube, you know that this is under Valencia the Visionary. If for some reason you didn't start this out and you're bypassing somebody else who's watching it, Valencia is spelled Valencya, Valencia the Visionary. And then you can also find me on Instagram underneath that same handle. I am available on Facebook under Valencia Thompson. And I'm also available at valenciathompson.com. Remember that CYA. Thank you so much for tuning in to our conversation on womanhood with me and my girlfriends. I look forward to doing many more. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.